Peter Serpe was not born a monster. He grew up in an ordinary Dutch neighborhood, the kind where everyone said hello, where crime seemed far away. But from a young age, he craved power, money, and danger. Those desires slowly drew him into Amsterdam's criminal underworld, a world he would one day betray. In his early 20s, Peter moved between jobs, security, small errands, street hustling. The streets taught him survival. He learned how to intimidate, how to stay silent, how to make people fear without lifting a hand. He wasn't just strong, he was smart, and that made him valuable. Peter's real entry came through acquaintances tied to drug smuggling. He began collecting debts, protecting shipments, and transporting weapons. His loyalty and silence earned respect among dangerous men. Soon, he wasn't just a helper, he was a soldier. Everything changed when he met Jesse Remmers, the feared enforcer of the Dutch underworld. Remmers saw potential in Peter, not just as a fighter, but as a killer who could think. Together, they entered a darker chapter, targeted killings for money and revenge. The first time Peter pulled the trigger, something in him broke, and something else woke up. Fear turned to adrenaline, guilt to pride. He realized that in this world, those who killed first lived longest. By the late 1990s, Peter Serpe was a full-time hitman. He worked in silence, moving between Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and Antwerp. His jobs were clean, quick, and ruthless. No witnesses, no hesitation. The police began noticing a pattern: victims tied to drug trafficking, all shot with precision. But they had no name, no face, no suspect. That's how Peter liked it: to be invisible, untouchable, and feared by men who never even met him. The Passage case would later expose a network of assassinations tied to figures like Willem Holleder, Dino Sorel, and others. Peter Serpe's name was whispered behind closed doors, connected to multiple killings. He had become part of a machine that eliminated anyone who betrayed the underworld. Peter wasn't reckless. He had his own code: never harm families, never torture, and never betray a friend. But that code would one day break. As he grew more valuable, his payments grew too. Tens of thousands of euros per job. But with money came paranoia. Everyone wanted more, everyone feared being next. By 2004, police investigations had started connecting dots. Phone taps, car traces, financial trails. The web was tightening. Peter didn't know it yet, but the walls around him were closing. In 2006, Peter was arrested. Not for one murder, but several. For the first time, he sat across from detectives who knew too much. He realized that if he stayed silent, he would die in prison. Or worse, be killed by his own. Alone in his cell, Peter made a choice that would shock the entire Dutch underworld. He agreed to become a crown witness, a protected informant for the state. He was going to betray the same men he once killed for. The government offered him protection, money, and a new identity. In return, he had to tell everything: names, dates, locations, motives. It was the ultimate gamble: life in hiding or death in silence. When word got out that Peter Serpe had flipped, panic spread. Gang leaders like Willem Holleder and Dino Sorel were furious. A hit was immediately rumored. But how do you kill a ghost who disappears behind police walls? The Passage trial became the largest and most expensive criminal trial in Dutch history. It exposed years of assassinations, blackmail, and extortion. And Peter was at the center, the man whose words could send others to life sentences. When he entered the courtroom for the first time, the room went silent. Across from him sat Jesse Remmers, his old mentor. Peter looked into his eyes and saw betrayal, rage, and disbelief. Peter spoke for hours, then days, then months. He detailed killings, meetings, contracts, and methods. He described how murders were planned in cafes, hotels, even saunas. Every word was a bullet. But this time, aimed at his own past. Even under witness protection, Peter lived in fear. He moved constantly, changed names, avoided phones. He knew there were still men who would die just to find him. The underworld doesn't forgive betrayal. His relatives received threats, strange phone calls, and anonymous letters. The message was clear. You can hide, but your family cannot. Peter's testimony wasn't just words. He had recordings. Hidden devices, phone calls, notes from meetings. Those tapes became some of the strongest evidence in the trial. The Dutch public was both horrified and fascinated. They saw for the first time how deep organized crime ran, and how the line between killers and businessmen had blurred. Isolation broke him slowly. He suffered paranoia, depression, and insomnia. He had turned from predator to prey, hunted by the ghosts of those he killed. In the years that followed, several figures connected to the Passage trial were murdered. Journalists, lawyers, and witnesses, all targeted. The message was clear. Silence must be enforced, even in death. Peter often spoke of how Haleder's influence reached everywhere. He feared that even from prison, Haleder could command a killing. Every time a car slowed near his safe house, Peter froze. Protecting Peter was costly and dangerous. He was both a witness and a confessed killer. Officers guarded a man they didn't trust, but desperately needed. Every session was like a movie scene. Killers, lawyers, tears, secrets. Peter's testimony would sometimes last 8 hours a day. Each word could save or destroy someone's life. By testifying, Peter made enemies across all factions, Dutch, Moroccan, and Eastern European gangs alike. There was now a bounty on his head. Reports later surfaced of a failed attempt to locate and assassinate him abroad. He was relocated immediately. Even in hiding, he never slept peacefully again. Peter admitted to several killings. He said he didn't want forgiveness. He just wanted truth. But truth doesn't erase blood. After turning crown witness, Peter Serpe vanished from the public eye. He was given new papers, new clothes, a new face in a new country. But every morning he woke up feeling watched. Every sound outside his window reminded him that ghosts from his past were still searching for him. He could change his name, but not his memories. At night, he dreamed of the men he shot, the look in their eyes, the silence that followed. Those dreams haunted him like shadows chained to his soul. Even under protection, there were leaks. Criminals somehow learned bits about his movements. It made Peter realize there's no true safety when you've betrayed the underworld. He was reportedly relocated to another country in Europe. No one knew where. Maybe Spain, maybe Belgium. He lived in small rented rooms, moving every few months, pretending to be someone else. Peter once had friends, a family, a home in the Netherlands. Now he had none of those. His new life demanded he erase who he was. Every photo, every memory, every piece of the man called Peter Serpe. Sometimes he wrote letters to his mother and brother, but never posted them. He feared the letters could be traced, exposing his location. So he tore them up, crying quietly into the night. He had chosen truth over loyalty, but truth had cost him everything. No friends, no peace, no identity. He was alive, but in many ways, he was already dead. Back home, newspapers called him a traitor, a rat, and the killer who betrayed killers. Others saw him as brave, the only man with enough courage to expose the truth. The nation was divided about who Peter Serpe really was. The Passage trial lasted years, one of the longest trials in Dutch history. Peter had to appear again and again, retelling stories of murder and money. Each session drained him, physically, mentally, and emotionally. He often said in court, "I'm not a hero. I did horrible things, but I'm here because I don't want more people to die." Those words silenced the courtroom. A killer confessing not for freedom, but for peace. Even with his testimony, some judges questioned his credibility. He had lied before. He had killed before. Could they truly trust him now? But without him, much of the underworld would stay buried in silence. In the underworld, betrayal never ends. Some men Peter had trusted with his secret later leaked parts of his identity. He realized too late that even those protecting him could one day trade his life for money. A secret police document revealed that Peter's name was on a hit list, alongside other Crown witnesses and journalists. It proved how dangerous his testimony had been. The underworld wanted revenge, no matter how long it took. In 2019, lawyer Dirk Wiersum, who represented another Crown witness, was murdered outside his home. That killing sent shockwaves through the Netherlands and reminded everyone that people connected to these cases never truly escape danger. Peter knew then that he could be next. Even with guards and alarms, Peter couldn't sleep. Every knock on the door, every new face felt like death approaching. He lived each day expecting the last bullet to come. Years turned into decades. Peter aged quietly, far from Amsterdam's neon lights. No one recognized him in supermarkets or cafes. He was a ghost walking among the living. Sometimes he stared into the mirror and whispered, "Who am I now?" The man staring back was older, colder, emptier, a stranger wearing his own face. Peter once told a reporter, off record, "You can run from your enemies, but never from your conscience." That statement summed up his entire life. The war inside him that no witness protection could fix. Rumors say he kept a secret diary, recording his thoughts, nightmares, and regrets. If it ever surfaces, it could reveal details of murders still unsolved. But so far, no one has seen it. Every man he once called brother either turned against him or ended up dead. That loneliness crushed him more than any prison cell could. Even years later, Peter was sometimes summoned for follow-up hearings. Every appearance risked exposure, but he had to comply or lose protection. He lived trapped between law and fear. When the passage trial finally ended, there was no celebration, just silence. The men he testified against were sentenced, but Peter couldn't feel joy. Justice had no taste when it came mixed with blood. He had bought his safety with betrayal. But betrayal never comes cheap. He paid for it with his soul, his name, and his peace. To this day, Peter Leserpe's name divides people. Some see him as the devil who confessed. Others see him as the sinner who dared to tell the truth. He continued living under a new identity, likely with new documents, possibly abroad. No family, no friends, no real contact with the outside world. His life became a long exile, a punishment that never ended. Even if no one finds him, he can't escape the ghosts in his head. He once told an investigator, "The worst punishment isn't prison. It's remembering everything you did." Because of Peter's testimony, several major figures were convicted, including Jesse Remmers, Dino Sorel, and others involved in multiple murders. He destroyed empires with words, not bullets. Today, no one knows exactly where Peter Leserpe lives. He might still be in Europe under a false name, or relocated overseas. Some believe he's dead. Others say he's living quietly with police protection. His story became a warning in Amsterdam's underworld, a reminder that even the toughest killer can break under guilt. To the new generation of gangsters, his name means one thing: never trust anyone completely. If Peter Leserpe could speak freely today, he might say, "I told the truth, but lost my life doing it." He survived, but at a cost no normal man could bear. And somewhere, under a different name, the man once feared across the Netherlands now lives quietly, haunted not by enemies, but by the echoes of his own past.